All right, everybody, it's January 6th. We are looking at the Love and Grace Devotional. The title of this one is Quit Waiting for a Plan, Just Go Love Everybody. The verse comes from 1 John chapter 4, verse 7. Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Have you noticed a surge in the number of workout programs out there? It seems like every time I pick up a magazine, a new study says the key to weight loss is to avoid carbs, or only eat carbs, or eat only free-range llama eggs. I'm still looking for the workout plans that pushes popsicles, cake pops, and Pop-Tarts as the key to getting ripped. It would seem the only thing we love more than dieting is talking about dieting. I'm not one for diets or workout plans, but I do know what it's like to spend too much time coming up with a plan instead of just doing the plan. The same holds true with our personal plans. It's tempting to sit around dreaming about what we would do if we only had the money or the time or the unique opportunity. But all that planning for the future takes us away from the one thing all of us can do right now: love the people around us. God isn't dazzled when we go across an ocean, He delights when we go across the street. It's great to map out a plan to use your gifts to make the world a little more beautiful or functional, but try not to forget that you're already where you are. Go change the world from where you are, while you're moving towards where you wish you were. Changing the world turns out to be easier and harder than we tend to make it. It's easier because it doesn't take as much money or time as we think it will, but it's harder because, like the workouts we avoid, it takes courage, commitment, and sacrifice in the moment. If you're a planner, terrific. Go do loads of planning. If you are wired to be spontaneous, do plenty of that. By all means, keep scheming up plans, but don't forget there's a big difference between always preparing and actually being ready to start. Oh boy. And this is funny. Um, yeah, I've been through I did keto to lose a lot of my weight, and funny thing is I was really interested in keto because essentially I could eat steak with a lot of butter, and it was a good thing. So this one kind of speaks to me pretty good. Um, another thing that really resonates is the only thing we seem to love more than dieting is talking about dieting. This is very, very true. Um, there's a lot of people out there, vegetarians, pescatarians. There's like 700 different diets, I think, at this point, where we talk about what the goal is. We talk about how much we've lost. We talk about what we do in this diet. But we definitely don't put as much time into it. It's also another thing that interested me with keto was the fact that it didn't require much planning. Most meats don't have carbs, and you're trying to avoid sugars and keep carbs to a minimum. So it was basically, you kind of fell into natural fasting with it, but my meal would be a piece of meat, maybe a green veggie, cheese on occasion, and that would be my meal. So I could just literally pick, do I want a piece of pork? Do I want a piece of chicken? Do I want a piece of steak? And then, do I want broccoli? Do I want zucchini? Do I want this? And do I want cheese on it? Don't forget to throw in the butter. And that was pretty much it. I am a planner for sure. Most of the time, the plans don't work out, but I do like to overly plan things. And I tried being a vegetarian for a bit. I tried, planning through a couple more. But it's funny that I look back at that and I realize the diet where I had to plan the least was the one that actually was the most successful. And I continued on for a year of my life. How many times have we all had dreams where it was like, if I had unlimited money, I would do this. I have one of my own. If I had unlimited money, how I would give back to the community is I would build a huge mall type area, but I would make it full of fun things to do. I would put a library or a bookstore in there. I'd have, the occasional coffee shop, shop. Like it has maybe some restaurants, stuff like that, candy shop, that kind of thing. But then I'd have like an outdoor playground. I'd have a movie theater. I'd have basically just a fun center, like arcade, um, possibly even like a game kind of thing, maybe like a card and board game shop. Just like a big area where you could go and just have fun. Society is so connected through phones nowadays that it's hard to get out and do things. And if you do happen to be out in the dating world, first off, God bless you. Because that is a interesting spot to be. But it's always like, do I go to a coffee shop or a restaurant? Do I go to a park? There's just not that many spots to go and have fun. And the chances of, there being similar want to do those things and they're being side by side is very, very small. Say you like hiking and the person you're going out with prefers an arcade. Those things are never side by side. But in a area like that, it would be a really cool thing to have. There'd be gathering spots like churches and stuff like that in that mall as well. Mall's not really the right word for it, but just like that's kind of how I would envision it being, basically. I think it would be a really cool thing to have because, malls that are out there now are just full of clothes shopping. And yeah, sure, that's some people's thing. But that's not really an activity for everybody. Not a lot of people prefer just going out and just doing shopping. Now that's well beyond my capabilities. You know, my whole hold up on that dream, as I said, if I had infinite money, I would do this because that would take a lot to be able to do. But there is things that I can do in my realm to kind of do that same similar thing. I can come up with plans with my friends to go have a board game night. I'm not dating right now. I am wholly sticking to staying single because I need to heal quite a bit more in order to actually get out there. But um, for myself, if somebody needs that kind of advice on something like that, I'd be more than happy to share it with them. If there's ever a time where, you know, men need to get together for a men's group talk or my devotional or my small discussion group, all those things to really help push for the fellowship, which is what kind of the main thought process of the mall would be is the fellowship, getting people together and having fun. I can do that on much smaller levels. I can learn to play a game that my friend likes to play just so we can have fun playing that game. So on a much smaller level, I can still do that. And that's a good example of just making sure that, you just love everybody. I kind of brought up before that it seemed like a really strange concept to me at first that people would just, oh, you're friends with us at church. I just met you at church. Cool. Come over and play board games with us on Sunday after church. To meet somebody that quickly and just invite them over to your house was a foreign concept to me. But like I said, it's a great example of loving everybody. That's very spontaneous. That's kind of the opposite end of where I am. I try to tend to be a planner. And it's interesting for me too, because I kind of tend to be a little bit of both. There's times where I'm a planner, but other times I'm just completely spontaneous and catch everybody off guard with it. So, um, but yeah, just focusing on the love and grace topic of this. It's we we need to stop waiting for a plan. Just get up there, love everybody, and just showcase that in ways you do. Another good example of this, as part of me becoming a more social person, it became a goal of mine at some point to just, as I was walking into a restaurant, if I ever seen somebody walking out by themselves, just invite them to have a meal with me. I've done that a few times, and people have sat down and actually had conversations. It's been really, really good. And that was some of the best conversation I've ever had. So it's a really cool thing that I need to make sure I start to branch out a little bit more and stop leaning on my own understanding of needing a plan for everything. Because anytime I have gotten into the spontaneous side of things, it's always had really good results, and I'm thankful and blessed for that. Now, the question for this devotional today is, what is it that you've been planning without starting? You don't have to take all the steps, just the next one. It's a very good thing they added on to the end right before talking about it. Planning would be, I don't know, maybe, I mean, for me, it was this. Um, Eventually, I do want to be married to a good Christian woman, and I know I need to heal through a lot of different things before that happens. But maybe that's where I'm planning more than I should be. Right now, I'm really just kind of leaving it in the Lord's hands, and if He thinks, you know, He is ready to heal people in my past and bring them back into my life, then I will let Him do that and let Him show me when it's time to do. If He wants me to move on to a person, I feel like He'll let me know at the moment that that's the time to move me forward with that person. But I'm working on myself. But is that really just trying to plan too much? Should I put my heart out there? Or maybe I'm planning on doing the healing, but not fully committing to doing the healing. Could be another thing. You don't have to take all the steps, just the next one. So instead of looking too far and thinking about the good Christian life that I'm going to have, maybe the next step is to just really step into that healing, really take it to God, really face whatever traumas or whatever issues may have been caused by being in an abusive relationship and heal from them. I think that's a really great example. So, what's your guys' next step? And I'd love to hear about it in the comments.